Good
morning.
morning. How are you?
I'm good. I always notice sometimes when, it takes a minute to start that sequence, and then I'm like, uh-oh, am I frozen? Never know.
Exactly. You never know. So we're having a little bit of choppiness, we think, this morning. I think maybe the internet land in general is in winter mode.
Maybe because we're both checking our connections and they're both solid, so we don't really know what's happening.
So if we are, let us know. If we're not, continue watching.
Yeah. So did you notice I look kind of like a little bit cold, like I've been outside cold?
It's
It's
cold
funny
outside.
because well, it was the reason I'm saying it is because I went outside, took the garbage out, did all the exciting stuff you do in the middle of winter, and I just ran in and I was a little bit cold, and then I looked in the mirror and I realized, oh, I look like that cold girl makeup on TikTok. Have you seen that? It's so funny. Oh,
I
I
have
said,
not.
oh, so it was again, the only time I end up on TikTok is through Apple News feed, and so it
Yeah.
kind of kicks me in. It's a trend. It's called cold girl makeup, and I actually told my daughter, I said, "You look really good at it," but it's so that you do your cheeks get rosy, and then you put like blush here and a couple other things anyways, and it's very cute when you're young, but if you live up here, you don't need cold girl makeup. You just need to go outside.
Those are for people in the like southern US or southern Europe or just southern hemisphere
Yeah.
in general. Up
Yeah.
here in the northern hemisphere where it's actually cold, we get that naturally.
Yeah, so we always have the cold girl look.
That's
I just
funny.
thought it was very funny because it's very cute, but like this girl was like, "Oh my god, I look so cute," and I'm thinking, man, like just walk around up here, everybody looks like that. Everyone looks cute.
But they're not used to it. Again, in the southern hemisphere, they have like the flushed, they don't have the rosy
Yeah,
cheeks because they're always hot.
we
So
all
they
have that
probably have a
beautiful dewy look, right?
yeah, exactly. That's what we go for, right? We go to the makeup person and go, I want to look like I live in the South. And then
Yeah,
now they're creating the opposite.
exactly.
That's
But it's
funny.
interesting because you like the thing I noticed about it was the fact that it's fascinating what trends, like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Who thought of that? Like, how did that happen? And all of a sudden, it's just big everywhere. It was kind of like I was watching a show I told you to watch. I think you might have watched I Hate Christmas on Netflix,
That
which
was
was
so
very
funny.
funny. And there's a little rap hip hop song that comes on in between the clips, and I love this song. So I just thought it was cool, so I downloaded it, and it's somebody from Toronto, Canada, or something.
Oh, okay.
And it was a big song, and I guess this was an Italian movie and a big song, and they put it in there. And I text my son, and I'm like, "Hey, I like this song," and he goes, "Oh, he played at his university and he wasn't very good." And I was just like, well, you know what? That song took off some guy in Toronto, and now it's in an Italian TV show.
That's on
You never
Netflix.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't. It's so true. It's so
yeah.
true.
So
Like the TikTok dance from the show Wednesday.
yeah,
Again, somebody sort of choreographed it based on the show, but it's actually not in the show. Like the music's
right.
not in the show. That
Yeah.
dance routine is taken from the show, but that's not actually in the show either. So you can kind of create something that's much bigger, but it actually it's just, I just find some of that stuff really interesting, and trends just fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, so just a reminder, because we're speaking of it, don't forget we have a big workshop first week of December, and it's all about the
January.
trends. January, sorry, all about the trends
Definitely
in social.
January. Don't freak me out.
Yeah, and you're not going to want to miss it. You want to join? It's free. If you go to our link and join the wait list, you're going to get an automatic entry into this workshop, and you're going to find out about what's trending for social media, for marketing, online marketing for your business, so that you can jump on it and be able to do it. We promise you, it doesn't mean that you have to dance, sing, do anything stupid. These are just, we're looking at what's happening in the marketplace and what's working now, so that you can go out and utilize some of these strategies for your business right away. So it's one of those workshops where you learn and implement, boom, you got it, ready to go. So
yes,
I just threw that
spoiler
in the middle
alert,
of,
you don't have to dance. Thank
no, you don't
goodness. Because
no.
I don't think I would have a follower.
You have that Elaine thing going on.
Yeah. For all you Seinfeld fans.
Yeah.
It would be bad. And you know what? Social media has really changed a lot in the past year. Like,
Yeah.
it's so interesting. I think I told you last week of how much I had to change a presentation that I'm doing tomorrow from the ones I've done years past, because I sort of take it and then I just sort of customize it. It doesn't take very long, but this one actually took longer because of the amount of changes, the differences in such a short time. I feel like this year has definitely been a year of change, and how we're going to use social media and online marketing, I think, is going to be very different in 2023 than it has been in the past. I feel like probably for the past 5 years, the trends watchers and stuff like that, really the what's going to happen in the following year hasn't changed. In the past 5 years, it really hasn't changed. This year it's changing. So
yeah, I mean, and everything in the online marketing landscape is really changing. I mean, how people are putting, like, if you're putting offers out there, and for the past couple of years, and we've done it too, there are very low priced offers that get you into the funnel and climbing you, and now things are different. And they're not yet, you will notice it on social media, they're not as prominent, those ads and things anymore, because people realize that, you know, there's a high cost in terms of advertising that for those, whereas you would rather do, you know, spend your money on something that's going to generate a bigger ROI. And we're going to talk about all of that. So it truly is a must see workshop. So if you're, you know, if you have an hour, and maybe it might be 2, but if you have an hour in January, then this is the workshop you want to come to. We're not doing a replay, so you got to show up live and come into our group. We'll let you in. It's all free, and you'll be able to truly see what's happening, not just in your social media marketing, but what you have to offer, how you have to change your face to the marketplace.
Exactly. So the link is right there, mastermind.city/the-network-waitlist.
So
like
it's because Stacy, poor Stacy, because she doesn't know I'm ever going to bring anything up. So she has to, as I'm mumbling, she has to go find the link, because I don't pre-plan and say, hey, get that link ready.
No. But it was interesting. Like, so like I said, I have the presentation tomorrow. They said there was about 350 to 400 people coming online. So I was like, that's cool. But they have to use a different online system. So it's not just a typical webinar system. They're not using Zoom, which I know. They're not using any sort of streaming app. It's definitely sort of I don't even know what it's called. I don't know if it's got a GoToMeeting or I don't know what it is. Anyway, it's a bigger one. So they actually have to upload and prepare all of this stuff, which is not good when you are a presenter and you go with the flow and you know what you're talking about, and based on questions, you dive a little deeper, whatever the case may be. Obviously, I have my slides. So he's like, well, like if you have a poll, for example, like typically on, you know, Zoom, you could ask a question and people could raise their hands and you could simply, you know, sort of scan through and go, yeah, most of the people said yes or no, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But in this particular case, I have to plan it. And not only do I have to plan it, I have to know when I am going to do it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't work like that.
No. That's again, so heads up, guys, this is a trend. That's trend. That's old school. Things don't happen like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you used to do, you know, when you were, you know, setting up a corporate-y thing. And I get it, and people are still holding on to that. But I can remember way before COVID, so a couple of years before, when nobody knew what Zoom was. And we've been using Zoom forever, for a long, long time. And I can remember talking to one of my friends who was like, is there anything you can recommend that we could get online and load up our slides and everything? And they were using, it might have been GoToMeeting. It was something very expensive. And I said, use Zoom. And she was like, what is that? And nobody knew about it. But the reality is, if you don't know about it now after COVID, You really need to see if it works for you. I mean, for us, we're using Wave, which is fantastic, and there's so many more alternatives, and it gives us flexibility. So what we're always looking for in a technology is flexibility. So if you're using something that isn't flexible, then find something else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I said that pre-planned when, how many minutes into your presentation. I'm like, but I don't have a script. Like,
No.
otherwise I would pre-record it. And if I was pre-recording it, then I could tell you at what minute to put that up. But I don't have a script because I need to base it on the questions, the feedback, the industry. That's how Faye Chapel teaches her speaking.
Well, that's truly, if you're going to, like, if you want to do a staged canned webinar, then do it. Like, but tell everybody it's not live and do it. But like to go it's no different than, so if I'm on stage and I'm doing a presentation, it's no different. I have control of the slides, right? I have the clicker. So I can go forward, or if somebody says, I didn't understand that, I can go back. You know what I mean? Yeah. I have full control. It's under me. I can give them the slides 5 seconds before I get on stage and they're fine. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, that's what you need to be able to do. So I just would, tell people, that's why you need to come to this workshop, to understand how people are doing things now. Yeah. It is different than it was 2 years ago. It was different than it was last year. Things have changed. I mean, if you've looked in your inbox, in your email inbox, you'll see the emails you're getting are different. Yeah. Right? People, absolutely. The offers you're getting, the services that people are doing now is completely different. People that have, I just bought, the Neighbors app. Everyone doesn't have it. There's an app called Neighbors, and you can go to your local community and everyone in there lives near you. And one popped up today and somebody said, I have snowblower, will travel. And so it's just some random guy that has a snowblower and is willing to, that's his service. No, it's a service. He makes money. And so, but he says, here I am. I got one big snowblower, just hand snowblower, but I'll come out and do your whatever, driveway, sidewalk, whatever. Well, that is a totally different business model, because before it was all companies, right? That's what you did. You had a company that was snow removal. But now the marketplace has changed. So now you can literally go into a group like Neighbors, which is only your local community, and say, I do snow blowing with my snowblower, nothing fancy, that's it. And he can probably get 20, 30 people, boom, just from that app, because people don't have to go search for a big snow removal company, where, as you know, if you don't know what it's like to have snow removal or maintenance, you pay for a contract for the year, right? Yeah. Snow or not. So that you pay a flat fee. It can snow 50 times or it can snow 2. It doesn't matter. You're paying the fee. So with this guy, it's different. He just shows up and you pay him when it snows. So again, market shift. Those are the kind of things that we notice, that we pay attention to, that we record, and we say, look, here are some trends that you should be aware of, because maybe you can hop on them as well. And I should shut up because I'm going to give away our whole workshop.
No, it's very true. And I like the fact that people are figuring out how to create things using different things, new things that come out, new communities, that kind of stuff. Actually, in speaking of that, I was talking about you yesterday.
Okay.
So, were your ears burning?
Good. Yeah.
It was good. So I'm at the physio, and my physiotherapist and I get into really interesting conversations while she's working on my shoulder. So the last time one other time we were talking about like One Red Lipstick and like what it was and the whole brand and all of that kind of stuff. And I was telling her at that time that why you created it, why your daughter created it, why you were helping her create it, that kind of stuff. And yesterday, she was telling me that she thinks yoga would be really good for me because it moves the body differently. It helps strengthen, stretch, all of that kind of stuff. And I said, well, that's interesting. I said, my business partner owned a yoga studio many years ago. And she asked the question, which most people don't ask. Most people go, oh, that's interesting, or or somebody will say, you know, like, well, why did she stop doing that? That's the common question. But
Yeah.
what she asked was, why did she start it?
Really?
So I thought that was a really good question. So I said to her, well, she started it out of her own need. She needed something for herself and it wasn't there. So she created it and built it. You know, Spencer saw that there was a need for one red lipstick. It wasn't there. She created it. And that's when I
Right.
realized you're a creator from that
Right.
need, which is, again, why we created the community, because of a
Yeah.
need that wasn't
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
sometimes it takes that person looking, sometimes
Yeah.
it's when Faye doesn't sleep, but looking for
Yeah.
something that they need and it's
Yeah.
not there. And this
Well,
isn't there. So that's why I was curious. So I just thought that was interesting when she was asking me the why. And I went, oh, because she needed and created it. And then I went, wait a minute, that's exactly what we're doing with the community.
and
So
that's what, you know, I always tell, we always train people to, when you need to stop yourself when you're like doing something and you go, I wish that this existed. Right. And then you have to stop and go, well, wait a minute. How do I make it exist? Right. Like, how do I
exactly.
create that? And, but it's catching yourself. The difference between you as somebody, a person who has not created anything, and the person that has created something is that they stopped. That was it. There's the only difference. They stopped and said, hey, wait a minute. And a lot of it, I'm going to sound a little silly, but a lot of it has to do with, if you've ever practiced meditation and you've practiced being present in the moment, you are much more aware of things around you. So I'm always aware of how things are, what happening, what people say. I'm always aware of it because I'm in that moment. So if you learn to be aware of things when you're doing whatever, you will soon find out. No different than if you have a service. You don't have to create a product.
Nope.
Don't create a product, but if you, like the guy with the snowblower,
Yeah,
he was aware that, hey, wait a minute, there are people that don't want a full service for the year. They just want me to come out. There's nobody that does it. Oh, wait a minute, I can do it. Right?
I have a snowblower.
Right. And with the yoga studio, it was the same. I needed a place that had what I wanted, and I wasn't I didn't like anything out there. I didn't like any of what was offered. It was very, you know, esoteric and very, you know, a little bit snotty. The yoga studios that were around, you know, they're a little like highbrow. And I wanted something that was welcoming for people that weren't worried about saying, I don't know what yoga is. Right.
Exactly.
And so that's what we created. And we ended up having, you know, hundreds of classes a week and, you know, 50 different teachers. Like, it was a big studio. So, but I didn't say, oh, I want this big studio with, you know, 3 rooms and we're going to do, you know, aerial yoga. I never thought of that. What I thought of was, I need a place that I want to go to.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's the same thing.
Yeah.
That's why we created the community that we're working on, and it's ready to launch. So it launches in January. We're very excited. We're very close. So, but it's the same thing. What we realized was, you know, we've tried a million communities. We've talked about this in the past, never liked anything. So we said, to heck with it. We need to create it. And it's way more work, way more work. But in the long run, what we're doing is giving our clients and our followers somewhere where that works, that we know works, that they will benefit from, that they don't get, you know, you don't go to a Facebook group where you're all confused about what to do in the group and where to find stuff and threads and all this stuff, or that you have to be on Facebook, right?
That was the other piece. Yeah. Or same thing with LinkedIn. Same thing. LinkedIn groups have always been really confusing. Social media groups in general, always really confusing of where to go, what to do, how do I do this? People tried people have always tried to build communities. And this is, you know, what we found is we've tried to take, you know, a square into a round hole. Is that the square peg into a round hole kind of thing? We've tried other places to kind of make it fit. You know, because the people try to take Facebook groups and they try to do training, they try to make it fit. LinkedIn groups is almost the opposite. They try to build a community, they try to make it fit within the confines of that particular platform. So we tried a lot of external ones, same thing. We tried to make it a lot. We tried to make it fit. We almost had one, and it was just became so confusing to land into. Like as soon as, so it takes me a long time to kind of figure it all out. It's just hard. So we're really proud of this one. We're putting a lot of work into this one, and I'm excited. So it's not putting a round peg into a round peg, square peg, round hole. It actually fits because we're able to do everything that we need and everything that people have been asking for. So it's this close.
And it's very, what we like about what we've tried to design for everyone is something that's very simplistic, that they know where to go as soon as they walk in. And it's a reason to go. It's a destination. So you know where you're going to get when you open our app. You know where to go for training, where to go for free workshops. If you want to do networking, whatever it is, it's there. So you're going in knowing it's not like you're, if you go, for example, to a Facebook group, you're kind of bombarded with other notifications and ads and all that kind of stuff. You don't have anything in ours. It's just pure, you know, if you feel like you need to be inspired, you need to talk to somebody, it's there. And I think, you know, I'm not here to try to talk about the whole app and the network, because it's not, you know, 100% ready yet. But what we're trying to tell you, just because that's where our train of thought went, is that, you know, we saw a need and we decided to do it ourselves, because we tried to find the solution, couldn't. And so we created the solution. And that's really the big takeaway today for, if we're talking about that type of piece in your business. So if you're not happy with, you don't have enough revenue, you don't have enough customers, you know, you don't have enough visibility, you don't have any type of mechanism to gain referrals. If there is a problem with your business, right, then you need to find a solution. So rather than say, I've tried everything. No, you haven't. You got to think outside the box. So go to other people or sit there with yourself and go, okay, what do I need to do differently to bring in a solution to what I'm looking for? So that's really what you need to focus on. So if you're sitting there going, you know, I've been running all these ads and they're not working, I will push back and say, you know, the reason the ads aren't working, and we know this, is the offer's not right, right? Yeah. What you're offering is not compelling. Your service no longer is as needed. You need to rejig it. You need to offer it out some other way, or you need to structure your ad. Maybe you're missing who you're trying to send the ad to. So even though you think you have it right, if it's not working, you don't. And we know that. Yeah. We you know, change ads and it's still not working. Well, then we're doing something wrong. So we always say stop and let's look at it and figure out what we're doing wrong before we just waste more money. Because, you know, Facebook and Instagram and they'll all take your money. They don't care if it's not working.
Happily take your money. Yeah. And we definitely, I think sometimes we get lost in our own business. So sometimes we get lost in our own lingo and lost because we spend so much time on an offering or a service or a product, and you build the landing page and the offer and the sales, and you talk about pricing it, and you spend months and months and kind of developing that, and you put it out there and go, here it is, the blank, you know, insert title here, you need to sign up, but there's no, well, I don't know what that is. You know what that is, right, as the person advertising. It's kind of like, you know, if McDonald's just said, you know, come to McDonald's. Well, why? I've never heard of McDonald's. Why would I go there? I don't understand what problem, but McDonald's never says what they sell. What they talk about is the problem that they solve.
Yeah, the solution. They're there to, you know, to make you feel better by eating their great food, right? Like they you know, you're hungry.
You know, they were on the go. Like they were talking about lifestyle. Like, I don't like McDonald's, by the way, like just as a side note. But their marketing is good because of what they do.
Other thing I don't, so digress, but I don't like McDonald's is because they don't have a vegetarian burger. Okay. Like,
now, what is that?
And onion rings. Like, those are the two things that if you do fast food, that you must have those in your, you know, offerings. So shame on you.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that just let's go down the rabbit hole just for a quick second. You're right. Burger King, Harvey's, A&W, like you name your fast food chain, they have a vegetarian option or a veggie burger or like the Beyond Meat, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And McDonald's and I don't know why McDonald's has not gone down that road. Whether they're simply making a stand, I don't know.
So that's for people like me, like when you have kids and we're going to hockey and you have to go through drive-thrus because that's the only time you have. I would always divert him to go somewhere else other than McDonald's because I'm like, I can't, there's nothing for me there. So let's go somewhere else. Right? Yeah. Let's go somewhere else so I can get a veggie burger, right? Yeah. Did you know, just speaking of just like, how quality wise, it's an interesting business concept is that, McDonald's, all their fries are generally uniform, right? They're usually around the same length. And that's because they only accept that size of potato. Yeah.
Really?
So so they're very picky because they want all their fries to be consistent. So, so it's kind of interesting, but it's an interesting piece. Well, I don't know. It's just their brand. And it's an interesting thing to think about for your own brand and business. Like, what do you accept and what don't you accept? You know what I mean? Like, because it's true. Like I'm very picky, as you know, I'm very picky on all our brand stuff. And, I'll say, we need to change that picture. Can you change the font? And like, no one will notice it but me, but it bothers me. So I have to do it. So I guess somebody way up there, McDonald's said, look, we must have consistent fry length.
It bothers me. Well, if you think about the end, so again, you get, from top down, right? You think about the server who's putting them in those little containers, probably easier if they're all the same length as well. And when you get it as a consumer, you probably don't even realize that they're all the same, but somehow it must be some sort of psychological.
I guess you don't want all little tiny ones or ones that are too big and they fly out of the box. I don't really know. Like, I don't know. I mean, they're not like perfect or anything. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they do, fries. Yeah. But I mean, they do they are fairly consistent. They don't, like I said, they don't hang out of your box. That's right. There's potatoes that are long, so they don't take those. Right. Like, it's just an interesting brand standard to me. And, like we were just talking about, like being present and noticing, those are things that I notice. And then when I notice them, I go and look them up because I find it interesting. Right.
Yeah, the why.
So it was just like, oh, like that's kind of interesting because you go somewhere else and they're not like that. Yeah. Right. So then you just Google it and you will find the answer. When you Google, Google will find anything you need as an answer. It will come to you. So here's a question I got to look at today. Anyone use those Swiffer wet jets?
Yes, me.
Okay. So I use those and yesterday didn't have any. And I was like, okay, I got to go buy some of them. I'm like, wait a minute. How come you can't take off their tops and refill it with what you want? Because you know how expensive they are. So today my mission on Google is how to refill your Swiffer wet jet instead of buying a new one.
You can.
So I'm going to look at, I'm sure you can try to take, no, the top, the liquid, liquid bottle. Yeah. Yeah. How do you open it? How? Have you done it?
There's refills.
I'm saying, can you refill on your own the bottle?
Oh, no.
Yes, I'm sure there is. I am guaranteed, and you, Miss TikTok, could probably find the answer on TikTok.
Probably.
But I'm going to search it up today because that's what I mean. I stopped and I went, wait a minute. Why am I spending a ridiculous amount of money? Because if I could fill that bottle up with water and vinegar, which is better anyway, I would not need to buy this expensive, overpriced shit. And so, excuse me. And so I'm trying to figure it out.
That's probably why they do it. That's
of course. But I know that somebody out there has found a hack, and I need to know what it is. So if anyone
has found a hack, guaranteed.
Send me a link. If not, I'm going to search it up today. And next week, I'm going to tell you guys the solution. But that's what it is. It's about stopping in the moment and going, wait a minute. Why isn't there a solution to this?
And somebody guaranteed has figured it out. And that's why some of those accounts, those hacks, those cleaning hacks, kitchen, what you can do, like some of those hacks, those accounts are so popular on TikTok because people go, oh my goodness, it's either a healthier option because I can use my own stuff, or it's a less expensive option. So somebody has figured it out, guaranteed.
And that's the key. Like somebody's figured it out. And we have to wake up as a society, because we're like little lemmings, you know what I mean? We just follow along, and we just don't even question, like, why do we keep buying these things when we're like, oh, there must be a different solution to this, but we don't stop and think about it, right?
Right.
So it was interesting. Yesterday I was in, this is like, if you guys, when we're talking about this stuff, it's not just random, because we're looking at it for business perspective. And that's what you have to start thinking about when you open your eyes to it. So I like lots of cooking gadgets. I'm in love with them, like all different things. But I was like, I have a toaster oven that's also a convection oven, but I'm like, I wish it was an air fryer, and I wish it was, and there's some little ones that are great, but I said, I wish I had a big one that could fit like a big pizza in it and stuff. And I'm walking through Costco yesterday, and boom, it's there. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's like, it's the size of my toaster oven, but it's big, like big for me, like the size I like, but it's an air fryer, toaster, convection oven, and it fits a 15-inch pizza.
Perfect.
And I'm like, wait a minute, somebody thought of what was in my brain. So you know what I mean? Someone thought, hey, this would be good if we bundle, because bundles are great for anything. If you can get extra use out of one thing, people will buy it, right? Why don't people want the traditional air fryers? Is because it's a 1 unit thing. You can make one thing, so you have to pull it out or whatever. So in your business, it's the same thing. Like, what are people constantly asking you for? And you go, oh, I don't do that. Well, wait a minute. Maybe you should, right?
Or maybe you can put it in combination with, and it's just a smaller add-on, or, you know, whatever the case may be. You never know.
Yeah. So it's just a fascinating thing when you actually stop. So that's your exercise, boys and girls, for today, is when you're doing things, stop before you just take, just keep going and wander along and not ask any questions. Stop and go, wait a minute. That's your words. Wait a minute. And then just say, what can I do to do this better? Or what can I do to help solve this problem? Or what can I do because my customers keep asking me for this same thing and I keep saying no? When I owned the yoga studio, people were asking me about, oh, do you do bar? And no, at the time, no one did bar, right? No one. It was just strictly dance studios. And I'm like, no, but I could, right? And I went and installed bars, and I got teachers that were good, and boom, I put them in, and those classes were packed. So crazy. I didn't do it. I was a yoga studio, but I had the space, I had the talent. Why not do it? That's what people wanted. They wanted as a compliment. Sometimes they wanted to go to yoga, but once in a while they wanted to go to a bar class. Cool. Who am I to say, right? Like,
exactly.
I wanted to give them the options. It's no different than the gyms offering yoga classes, right?
Exactly. Very, very true. Very true. All right. Yeah. Wait a minute is your phrase of the day.
Yeah. Wait a minute. You have to say it like that. Hey, wait a minute.
All right. We will see you next week.